You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
And now, a word from our sponsor, ThreatLocker, the powerful zero-trust enterprise solution that stops ransomware in its tracks. Allow Listing is a deny-by-default software that makes application control simple and fast. Ring fencing is an application containment strategy, ensuring apps can only access the files, registry keys, network resources, and other applications they truly need to function. Shut out cybercriminals with world-class endpoint protection from ThreatLocker.
The Middle East are no strangers to the global space industry. Saudi Arabia and the UAE both have established national space agencies and made bold investments in the space industry in recent years. But what about the Sultanate of Oman? Let's find out more about the region's first commercial spaceport. This is T-Minus Deep Space. I'm Alice Carruth. In 2024, Oman held the first suborbital launch at the Etlaq Spaceport. I found out more from Etlaq's Chief Commercial Officer, Julanda Al-Riyami.
So my name is Julanda Al-Riyami. I am the current Chief Commercial Officer at Etlaq Spaceport. I've joined about a year and a half ago. I look after the marketing side of the business, as well as sales and business development and events management. So Etlaq has actually grown in size more than double over the last 1 year. And a lot of that has been in my department. So we've been accelerating all the activities there. Before joining Etlaq, I was in Omantel, which is a telecommunications company, the national telecom in Oman. And I was working in the customer journey management department, as well as the product management department. And prior to that, I was actually in Singapore working at Apple in strategy and operations, primarily all of the operations happening in Asia Pacific, various products, some of the flagships that everybody knows, like iPhone and AirPods. And then prior to that, I was in the US, lived there for quite a while, did all of my education in the US, industrial engineering and an MBA.
I'm really excited to be talking to you today because you are bringing together, like I say, two of my favourite subjects, spaceports in the Middle East. Give us the pitch. Why Oman and why has Etlaq Spaceport been established over there?
So Oman first started looking into what they can do in space a few years ago. If you go back about 5 to 10 years, there wasn't much activity in space. And when the Ministry of Transport, Communications, and Information Technology looked into expanding its presence in the space sector, they first looked at the geography and thought that, hey, this is something that we naturally have, and it's an asset that you can't buy anywhere. And so the idea came to look for, or to consider what are the strategic advantages that we can leverage in addition to any commercial advantages. So they started looking into a location. Etlaq is positioned at approximately 18 degrees in latitude in collaboration with NASCOM, the National Aerospace Services Company, which happens to now be the holding company of Etlaq, alongside with the Omantel as an investor. And when they found that 18 degrees is quite good and competitive globally, turned out to be just a natural fit. It is the right investment. And so that's a natural asset that Oman has. And Etlaq decided to tap into that and maximize the benefit that we can get from launching here. So we have access to equatorial orbits, sun-synchronous and polar orbits. So we have a clear downrange clearance over the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. So Etlaq, it's in a location called Duqm, Wilayat of Duqm, which is approximately 5 to 6 hour drive from the capital. And about an hour and a half away from Duqm is the spaceport location. And being in Wilayat al-Duqm, the population density is very low, which helps us a lot in terms of safety and keeping launches accessible and, from a regulatory perspective, compliant. The services that we're offering at Etlaq Spaceport are quite comprehensive. We do intend for the master plan of Etlaq to be a one-stop shop where launchers can come in, bring in their vehicles. They would have a place to store multiple vehicles under development. They would have all of the facilities required for launch, such as payload integration facilities, testing of their equipment, electronics and software and fluids, and even engine testing, also static fire testing. We would have client offices for them to bring in their satellite clients and host VIPs if needed. We would have mission control centers, range control centers, and antenna farms, all of the equipment needed to track a launch. All that alongside with the accommodations, so people staying on site close to where the work is done can maximize their efficiency, especially during a campaign. In our master plan, we're accommodating for 3 launch pads, and that would be for micro vehicles, medium-class vehicles, and heavy lift vehicles. So we're offering also the opportunity for clients to scale up as they're growing their operations and their access to space. From a logistics standpoint, we're very close to a special economic zone. The Duqm Special Economic Zone has quite a few companies operating heavy industries. We have a refinery there. So in the long term, we can have quick and sustainable access to propellants. There's the airport, Duqm Airport, which can accommodate the biggest aircraft. There's also the Duqm Port. There's the deep sea port, and quite a few other industrial companies. And lastly, I would say from a commercial standpoint, we have a business model that is tailored to all sizes of launchers. It is flexible. It is meant to help companies reduce their operating expenditure, because we take on many of the services that a launcher might bring on their own, or we can leave it up to the launcher to bring in those services, so they can kind of cost optimize as they look to conduct an operation. In terms of weather, it's very predictable, so we know exactly when we can launch. Like traditionally, the spaceports around the world are governed by the by regulators, or they're, let's say, administered by the regulators, and the regulator is the operator. For example, NASA. And historically also ESA and CNES. But now we're looking at the commercial side of it. And what we figured is if we can come in to, if we can target the private launchers at prices that are much more reasonable than the institutional spaceports, we have a double advantage here, commercial side and a location advantage.
Obviously, Oman's had to go through a lot to establish the policies to put in place for being able to launch. How has that process been like, and what kind of setup do you have to attract companies to come in from outside of the region?
Currently, Oman is in the pre-regulatory phase of space. And in this pre-regulatory phase, we have an operating model that is very lightweight, and it actually allows us to conduct launches. NASCOM, which is the holding company of Etlaq, is also a qualified entity to review the safety cases for proposed missions. And given parameters that are up to global standards, for example, FAA or the UK CAA, we're able to get approvals for launch fairly quickly. In fact, within 14 weeks, we can have a mission planned from initial safety case till launch day. We are currently also working very closely with the government to help them or to fast track the implementation of a space law, something that can be more encompassing and allows for more global companies to find their way into Oman and launch from Oman. And that process is something we're keeping track of. We're working very closely with the government on that. And it's something that will be coming in the near future. However, till then, we will be operating in this pre-regulatory phase, which is actually quite light, and we find it attractive for our customer base.
And it obviously allows you to be able to launch already because you've already held, I believe, at least one suborbital launch. Can you tell us a little bit about the missions that you've held out at the spaceport so far?
Yeah, so we've done one launch, which was DOCOM-1, and that was in December of 2024. So leading up to that, we were first looking at the master plan of the spaceport and the fact that it would be ready in 2027 for commercial operations. And we didn't want to wait, 3 years to have our first launch. So we decided to book a launch and establish some operational capability. DOCOM-1 was, we can call it one of the historical milestones for the nation. It was a suborbital vehicle, the sounding rocket. It helped us establish the fact that Etlaq is here and ready to operate launches. We built out the minimum viable spaceport facilities to allow for such a launch to happen. And that is accommodation units, it's a mission control cabin, a range control cabin, and a very small launch pad. And essentially, it was enough for the launchers to come in, establish their base there for a couple of weeks, and plan the mission and take off. That was the kickoff for what we call the Genesis program, which is now operational in full force. The idea of the Genesis program is to host as many of these experimental launches as possible until the commercial spaceport is operational. And so we started off this year by planning the launch of Unity-1. The mission was planned by a company called Advanced Rocket Technologies in the UK. It's a startup working on reusable systems. And it's a prototype, a very small rocket designed to test out its ability to do a controlled ascent and descent. So that launch didn't happen for various reasons. And so we're replanning it for a later date. And we went ahead and planned the next mission, which was DOCOM-2. Now, this is by a company called Stellar Kinetics, and this is a much larger vehicle. It was 12 meter in height, 2-ton vehicle, 2 stages, active guidance and navigation system. So here we really upskilled ourselves and our teams to operate with some serious space launch capability. Our team took over all of the ground segment design. So we designed a new launch pad, and we built the ground segment that holds the vehicle, and we designed the tank farm and all of the fluid management systems. We also built a warehouse, the vehicle integration hangar for the operations to happen, like all of the preparation, like the vehicle assembly, software, continuing software development by the launcher, as well as the payload integration. I think leading up to DOCOM-2, it was, the first serious attempt to make a launch that is, based on international standards, could be really putting us on the map. The expected apogee for that was 500 kilometers. We had to stand down while the vehicle was on the pad due to a technical issue on the vehicle. However, based on the spaceport operations, we hit all the milestones. It was a major success on our part, all of the learnings, all of the infrastructure we built. From here onwards, we're looking forward to even more such experimental launches.
It sounded incredible, and I saw that you had international payloads on board. Are there students that came in from the UK for that launch as well?
So yeah, the Jupiter program is a collaboration between 3 UK universities, and they were working on a CubeSat deployment mechanism, and they wanted to test that on this launch. And there was also a Taiwan-based startup called Site Space that designed a pocket cube, and this was designed to measure structural stress on the vehicle during launch.
We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Dave here. I've talked about Delete Me before, and I'm still using it because it still works. It's been a few months now, and I'm just as impressed today as I was when I signed up. Delete Me keeps finding and removing my personal information from data broker sites, and they keep me updated with detailed reports, so I know exactly what's been taken down. I'm genuinely relieved knowing my privacy isn't something I have to worry about every day. The Delete Me team handles everything. It's the set it and forget it peace of mind. And it's not just for individuals. Delete Me also offers solutions for businesses, helping companies protect their employees' personal information and reduce exposure to social engineering and phishing threats. And right now, our listeners get a special deal, 20% off your Delete Me plan. Just go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K. Bad actors don't break in, they log in. Attackers use stolen credentials in nearly 9 out of 10 data breaches, and once inside, they're after one thing: your data. Varonis' AI-powered data security platform secures your data at scale. Across LaaS, SaaS, and hybrid cloud environments, join thousands of organizations who trust Varonis to keep their data safe. Get a free data risk assessment at varonis.com.
Great opportunities for being able to study. And I mean, as I've worked at a suborbital spaceport myself, and I know how important suborbital flights are in helping you ramp up to the things. It sounds a lot like your facilities are growing as you're attracting new customers coming in. What is the grand plan? What's the master plan for Etlaq?
What we're offering is scalability at this stage. So as we grow, clients can grow with us. Leading into 2027, we're going to be operating this Genesis program. Any startup, any experimental launcher, any R&D work, engine testing can be done at Camp Genesis right now. We're currently finalizing a master plan, which will have 3 launch complexes that would cater for micro vehicles, medium-class vehicles, and heavy lift vehicles, like the likes of a Falcon 9. The 3 complexes would be supported by a business park, of course, which will have all of the supporting facilities like clean rooms, range control centers, antenna farms, mission control. We would also have accommodations on site, and we'd also be catering for any testing that needs to be on site. And all of that needs to be publicly accessible as this becomes a national, let's say, emblem, that Oman is a spacefaring nation. We've got to have visitor centers for people to come in and experience what we're experiencing, be part of what's happening in the new space age.
Yeah, you mentioned opening it up to the public. What is Oman doing to help support a future workforce for the spaceport and the customers that come in and start launching there? Because obviously you've started to build up. So
what we realized in the spaceport is that there are no special skill sets that we don't already have in Oman to build and operate a spaceport. We need chemical engineers, electric engineers, mechanical engineers, radio frequency engineers. It's all the same stuff that we've already been studying and injecting into the workforce, but packaged differently in space or spaceport operations. Now, as the economy grows in space in general, so satellites and launch, as well as satellite services, we do see a need to expand some of the skill base. And the government has recently launched an accelerator program, the Oman Space Accelerator Program, to bring in 10 teams that would pitch in their ideas, and through international partners, they would help them grow their ideas into commercially viable businesses or projects so that we can add value to the local economy and the region as well. So that's upcoming by the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology. And from our side at Etlaq, we're continuing to always seek talent and train them. As we've doubled in size over the last year, We're looking to continue hiring and training and upskilling people in spaceport operations. And that happens through the Genesis program again, which is a learning curve. It throws us all in the deep end. We are taking a lot of international consultation to upskill ourselves. So from the US and from the UK, I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The information's already out there. And if we can just take that and learn it and implement it over here, we can accelerate our impact in the economy.
Absolutely. You mentioned that you're about 6 hours from Muscat in a remote region. Understand that it doesn't always attract the right teams because people worry about how far away it is. What are you guys doing to combat the apprehension that maybe customers have about how remote you are and what it is that you are offering up as a business park around the spaceport?
So, driving from Muscat to Duqm takes about 6 hours, but I would also have to say that there is an airport in Duqm, and it's just a 1 hour flight. The spaceport is much more accessible than people think. If we can, package that in the right way, it would be very understandable. And I would put it this way: we have a deep sea port in Duqm to accept any heavy equipment. We have container terminals not far as well, in Salalah and Sohar and Muscat to accept containers. So anything that goes by sea can go there. And the airport is big enough to accommodate the largest aircraft. So any scheduled or unscheduled aircraft coming in for an operation can easily land there, and it's an hour and a half away from the spaceport. Now, in terms of where people stay, so we're building in our master plan the idea of having a campus so that people can actually live in a very comfortable location where they have swimming pools, they have gyms, they have a campus-style living area. And if somebody's out there for a campaign of 20 to 30 days, it doesn't feel like they're out in the desert in a camp environment. It feels very much like a business park where they have offices, they have recreation, and they more or less feel like home.
It sounds like you guys have really thought this out and hopefully going to be attracting lots of companies coming in. What would you like our audience to know about Etlaq and what you're hoping to achieve in the future?
So Etlaq is positioning itself as a hub for attracting any investments into the region. We do see ourselves as additional access to space that has not existed in this region. While there's a lot of constraints on global spaceports and launch cadence has been increasing, Etlaq sees this opportunity as a way to free up that bottleneck. And so we're inviting launchers to come out here, see what we've got, see how friendly the operating environment is, and engage with the local ecosystem of space that we have. We've got a few satellite companies, ground station services companies. We also have satellite services companies. So the ecosystem is growing, and we're helping to accelerate that. And any launchers that are looking to grow, first launch, second launch, or even looking at high cadence launches are also all welcome. In fact, over here, we don't have any restrictions on the number of launches that any particular company can do per year. We can have interoperability in the spaceport. It is designed in a way so that two launch complexes can operate at the same time without disrupting operations of each other, taking into account safety distances that are inspired by the US FAA guidelines. So that would be my message. It is we're open and we're ready to accept global launchers coming here.
That's it for T-Minus Deep Space, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights to keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. If you like the show, please share a rating and review in your podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to space@n2k.com. We're proud that N2K Cyberwire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K helps space and cybersecurity professionals grow, learn, and stay informed. As the nexus for discovery and connection, we bring you the people, technology, and ideas shaping the future of secure innovation. Learn how at n2k.com. N2K's producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. Maria Valmarzes is our general host. And I'm N2K senior producer Alice Carruth. Thanks for listening.
CISOs and CIOs know machine identities now outnumber humans by more than 80-1. And without securing them, trust, uptime, outages, and compliance are at risk. CyberArk is leading the way with the only unified platform purpose-built to secure every machine identity, certificates, secrets, and workloads across all environments, all clouds, and all AI agents. Designed for scale, automation, and quantum readiness, CyberArk helps modern enterprises secure their machine future. Visit cyberark.com/machines to see how.